Is it just me, or does it feel like everybody has totally skipped to fall quicker than I feel like ever before? We went from summer to just forget about it. It's fall, like in a flash. And for us in Florida, things are super, super hot still. It doesn't feel like fall. However, the vibe is there. You know, the fall vibe is going on right now, which is what is making me think I need to get these plant started. I need to get my beds revamped. There's a lot of garden beds, like see all these back here that need some work. These ones right here need some work. I don't know if you guys can see in between my pumpkins. So I have a whole lot of work to do to get the garden fully ready for the fall season. But at the same time, I do feel really positive about where I'm at with the garden because I have peppers growing. I've got winter squash growing all around. What I'm gonna do is just start chipping away at the rest of the beds that still need progress done, which is like half of my raised beds, because I want to plant, you know, different brassicas and different root vegetables going into the fall season. That way we can have a really big variety of vegetables to harvest from. My name is Shelby. If you guys are new here, let's hang out, let's get some stuff done, let's have fun. You guys can just sit back in the air conditioning and enjoy listening to me yap. Let's get started. Okay. This garden bed behind me, I know my hair looks a little crazy. I'm trying to put my hair up without a mirror right now. Okay, so this garden bed behind me is super unmanageable. And I think part of the reason why is because every time I've been trying to like cover it with a tarp or smother the weeds from the light, there's always these side parts of the grass that get to the light. So I'm gonna put more of a tarp on this today because it's just so much work. It's probably the hardest part of my garden to manage, and hope that that's gonna kill off the weeds before I'm ready to start planting in the fall, because it's just the weeds are just going crazy in this bed and it's nonstop. Like pulling them, there's really no point because they're just gonna keep coming back when it's raining so often. So part of the issue is I haven't been weighing the tarps down enough. So that's what I'm gonna try to do, make it so that no light is getting into this bed. I'm going to show you what the parts of this raised bed look like that like the tarp just stayed on top of. So this is the part where the tarp stayed put and everything. Yeah, there's no weeds at all. And this is the part where the tarp moved and was exposed to the light. I know it's efficient. It's an efficient way to prevent the weeds, but I just need to get it so that the tarp doesn't move. So I need to find like heavier rocks and things all over the garden. Okay, I had to stop to fix my hair because it was looking real silly. All better. Okay, I fixed it. I know that it's going to be a good way to kill all these weeds until I'm ready to start planting in here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to probably like Home Depot or something today and get a few like cinder blocks to really crimp down the edges, because that's where like the weeds continue to be introduced to light, is at the edges. So I'm gonna get some more heavy objects because I don't know why, it's crazy, like our property just doesn't have a lot of really big rocks around, so I'm gonna have to get some more to really fix this. Now, the big issue in my tomato patch, because largely it's not that bad. I know it looks bad, but it really isn't, is this little corner right here that's encroaching on the rest of the patch. So if that was left just left alone, it would start to continue to take over like the whole entire thing. So it's just kind of crawling in. That's why it's important when you are doing a no-dig, no-till garden method, or just like a no-dig garden method, to have some type of like a weed border, like a big heavy branch or something like that, to help prevent those weeds from just crawling in to the rest of your garden and infiltrating it. So this is so not bad at all. This would take me probably, I don't even know, like 10 minutes to pull the weeds, which is a testament to the no dig garden method. I absolutely love it. It's just, you've got to be really strategic with how you're protecting the garden. So my goal right now, the biggest goal today, is to totally get all these weeds pulled. I know it's like one of my least favorite things to do. If you're just a gardener in general, your goal should always be to pull as little weeds as possible. So anytime I have to kind of get out here and pull a bunch of weeds, I'm like, but it's got to be done. And I only have to do it every once in a while. So let's do it. Trying to get all these weeds pulled. I try to really only do like weed pulling about once a month or so. That's how low maintenance the garden can be, and that's in the summertime. So I just don't have time to come out here and make sure everything's all pristine looking at all times. So I pretty much just kind of let it get a little out of control for about a month or so, and then I come out here for a few days and I get it all back together again. That's the cycle that I tend to follow, and it works for me. But I also would recommend maybe staying on top of it a little bit more consistently than I do, because it leaves me with a whole bunch of work. I'm always so excited for fall because the grass gets a little bit better. Not dramatically better, but does start to get a little bit better. And the temperatures are better, and we can start growing really fun stuff. For me, it's like a total luxury to grow brassicas of any kind. I'm always just so amazed, because it takes a really long time from seed to harvest to grow that one individual crop. And I feel like for us, like tomatoes are just, okay, it's a tomato, you can grow a ton of tomatoes here. But what's amazing to me is when we can grow those sensitive crops. So that's why I really look forward to the fall. And then just, of course, like, things just aren't so severe anymore. The weather's a little bit more forgiving. And for us Floridians, it's kind of like our time to really start enjoying the outdoors again, because the weather, when it's about 100 degrees, it gets to be dangerous to be out here constantly. So everybody here in Florida is just so looking forward to that change of season. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for a lot of people who are really looking forward to that subtle change in season. Honestly, when the grass is long, it's easier to pull. So what I've been doing is just I'll shake out the big amounts of mulch, make a pile, toss it. I was gonna fix this really quick. My husband accidentally hit this with the lawnmower, so I'm gonna try to fix this one really quick. Maybe a little low. Okay, I got pretty much all the weeds pulled. With the no-dig garden method, you don't have to be too precise about the weeds, and a lot of the foliage that you're still seeing is just like leaves that kind of cracked off when I was pulling the weeds out. So I feel really good about working on 2 of these really problem areas. I need to also add mulch and some compost on top of this. So we continue to have different cabbage worms and caterpillars and all different types of issues going after our winter squash, which is to be expected because the temperatures are still really warm right now. I'm seeing, a ton of different little eggs that you don't want to see on your plants. So what I do is I just spray BT every like 7 days or so. It is supposed to be organic, it's supposed to be. And I've weighed out the pros and cons of, not having any homegrown winter squash versus maybe something that, there's some ingredients in here that I'm not 100% sure of, but it does say it's organic and people have been using it for a long time. So this is super effective and it's really protecting all of my plants right now. And it's making my winter squash continue to thrive when these temperatures are still really difficult. The good thing about BT is that it doesn't affect beneficial insects because they don't actually chew on the plants. It only affects the insects that chew on your plants, which are not beneficial ones. So all the ladybugs and all of the bees and things like that are left unharmed. And the reason I'm getting to doing this right now is because you want to do it in the morning. You don't want to spray this at the high noon. You don't want to apply any type of pest control, whether that's homemade or not, at the high noon because it's just too hard on your plants. So always spray anything like that. If it's a homemade concoction like neem oil or like BT or anything like that under the leaves, because that's where all these little pests tend to hide. And I'm definitely seeing a lot of pests just every few days, just continuing to appear and try to work on these winter squash. And I'm so determined to get pumpkins and things like that growing successfully this year. Okay, so that jar, it's about empty, but I wanted to show you guys a little baby butternut that is growing right now. It is so cute. We have a few others that are currently growing. So that's the first actual winter squash I've seen. And I'm pretty sure, because I didn't mark like what was where, that this is actually a spaghetti squash. It's definitely, I thought it was also a butternut squash behind me, meeting this cattle panel arch. But it's a spaghetti squash. So these plants are both thriving and they're going to start overtaking each other. I'm going to probably let the butternut squash just kind of like go off into the ground as well as the spaghetti squash because they're taking up a lot of space, and I'm not used to having this many successful winter squash. Usually one of the plants will start to die off at this point. As soon as the flowers start to appear, that's kind of when it's like make or break, I would say. And then I have my winter luxury pumpkins right here that are trying to maintain some healthy growth as well. So overall, I do feel really positive about where I'm at, considering this is, I think today's September 1st. Yeah, so it's the very beginning of September. I feel like the garden is in a really good place because I'll have some winter squash to harvest around the same time that I have some of my fall transplants going in the ground. So it's just going to be a really good cycle that I've set up so far. I still need to get a lot more done with that tomato patch. I'm going to go inside for a little bit and come back outside and then get that finished up too, because there's still a lot to do here. don't know if you guys can see above me. There's certainly, oh my God. There's certainly a storm cloud brewing right now. So I'm gonna have to quickly finish up getting the mulch all laid out. And then I'm gonna get the soil, the compost on top. I don't know if you guys can see, still it's getting more and more swirly. The storm is getting worse. So we just had a camper tree in the backyard that got struck by lightning and is totally fried out of nowhere. So I don't want to end up like that camper tree and be totally fried. So I'm gonna run back inside. Feels so good about getting this tomato patch so much cleaner. And also I have plans to do cucumbers in some of these back rows. So I'm not gonna just do tomatoes here. So the first 2 rows are gonna be the tomatoes I've already started, then probably some cucumbers and something else in the back. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I can literally feel that storm blowing in, so I've got to get inside. But if you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to give it a like. That helps me so much. And consider subscribing. Until next week, bye.